A lot of you have been inquiring about the fiscal rules. What are the fiscal rules? How did they come about? The fiscal rules are laws that are designed to ensure that Jamaica follows a path in its budgets that will result in the debt of the country being at a sustainable level. Jamaica had been suffering from a long period of time with very high levels of public debt, and that the need to service that debt had crowded out all sorts of other important expenditures on the development of the country. And the fiscal rules were implemented in their current form in or around 2013 to ensure that by March 2026, which was a deadline set in the law then, we'd have got our debt down to 60% of GDPs. GDP being the annual total output of the economy, and the debt was supposed to get down to 60% of that figure by that date. Very important, because as you apply those fiscal rules, it keeps government on a path where, building for the future, we will be able to make the necessary investments in our infrastructure, in our social services, in education and health, etc., which is what people want to see happen for the country to move forward. How did it come about? Really, it was the context of the IMF program at that time, and the desire to ensure that some of the mistakes that had happened in the past were corrected by putting into the law itself the need to run a necessary surplus each year to achieve that debt target. And I was the chairman of the legislation committee of cabinet at that time as Minister of Justice, and was very involved in the writing of the law as that was eventually enacted in the Financial Administration and Audit Act to implement the fiscal rules. There are provisions for, if there's a natural disaster, the suspension of the fiscal rules for a period of time with the permission of Parliament. And we had a suspension during the pandemic because of the massive hit that the economy took at that time as tourism and travel was shut down. And again, just this week, the Minister of Finance came and got the permission of Parliament to suspend the fiscal rules till March 2027 because of the impact of Hurricane Melissa, which, as we know, has devastated our economy. The rules do require that once the effect of that disaster is passed on the economy, or the period of suspension comes to an end, then the budgeting process has to get us back on track to get the debt down to 60% of GDP by the stipulated date. The date in the law now, since the pandemic, is March 31, 2028. But I believe that will have to be shifted back further, because we know that the impact of Melissa is going to involve the government taking on some additional debt to finance the recovery. And it's going to take a while, longer than projected, to get to the 60% target. It's important to bear in mind that because the fiscal rules are written into the law, they're a guardrail that applies and binds any government. So in 2013, when we passed them into law, the PNP government, which lasted until 2016, had to abide by those fiscal rules, which we put into the law in 2013. And subsequently, the JLP government has had to abide by those rules as well. And a lot of the improvements that we've seen in terms of fiscal space and the reduced debt to GDP ratio and things that politicians like to take credit for are in fact really as a result of the fiscal rules being adhered to because the law requires it. And that's why there's such an important part of our overall economic architecture and ensuring that the country stays on a sustainable path going forward. So those are the fiscal rules, why they exist, and how they came about. Let's see it.
Big Belly Skies is a rhyme of TV. People, God bless you, man, support it. Big Belly Skies is workers' champion. That you are good youth and God bless you to support him. Hey, Sky Youth!
My name is Dwayne Poe from the World Immortal Store. I don't know. Rhyme Up TV, man. Tell you about that TV station. Don't touch on the dial, you understand? World Store Love, Rhyme Up TV. Horse, angry.
I'm coming to the world, Google. Not about Rhyme Up TV. It's a Rhyme Up, one of the
the real one them. That's why me stand up here son I do this. Let's rhyme up. I'm real. I'm gonna salute him. You hear that? Rhyme up, pick up yourself, you know. Rhyme up!
Here from on your family, the rebel girl Daniel there representing Rhyme Up. I love you.
Well, I don't know how I kill Marvelous to represent for DJ Rhyme Up. Rhyme Up.
First them on there ain't no stress, then you don't know it. Sean Paul alongside the Rhyme Up. Tell some boy them time up. You don't know it go. Rhyme Up. Play music. Dirty.
Rhyme Up. I want glue us a Rhyme Up. Because you're real talking. I am telling you.
Come here, talk on this, Rhyme Up.